Can you actually make $1 million playing poker?
I think the biggest pot I ever won was 1.7 million.
I've won $1 million 2 times in poker tournaments.
With everything involved, probably 10, 11 million maybe.
I flew out to Las Vegas, Nevada to talk to the best poker players in the world to find out how they made their millions and some crazy gambling stories. Let's find out.
What's the biggest pot you've ever won?
I won a tournament early on for around $600,000. That was 2006 at the Bellagio.
My name is Jared Blesnick. I dropped out of college at 18. I've won $500,000 on like one hand. I've lost $300,000 on another hand.
There was a hand that I lost for $724,000. I got chills talking about it.
When I was 23, I lost $1 million in a day one time, and it was just crazy.
How'd you feel after that, and what'd you do?
I stayed in bed for about a day. Honestly, I ate a bunch of really bad food. When I lose, it hits me for like the first 6 to 8 hours, and then I'm over it.
We're playing, it was in my house. Here's the worst part. I have to be in my bedroom hearing the poker game out there for another full day.
So the morning after I woke up and I lost $1 million, for the first 15 seconds, I didn't remember I lost $1 million. I was like, yeah, man, today's gonna be a great day. Then it hit me, I was like, oh shit, I lost $1 million yesterday. I've always been really good with emotional control though. So I think that was one of my strengths. It's kind of like, okay, I did everything I could. If I lose, then I lose.
What is the difference between a pro like you and an amateur?
In the short term, like I could come play with you tonight and you might beat me tonight. But if we play every single night, I'm gonna take all your money. And that's just what poker is. At the end of the day, the better player always wins over time.
Most people drastically underbluff. They do not bluff nearly often enough because they're scared of losing their money. And all the best players do it. I mean, that's just like default. You must do that or you will not win.
The difference is that the players that don't really know what they're doing, they confuse me because they don't know what they're doing. So it's hard for me to figure out what they're doing if they don't know what they're doing. So the pros, they all kind of play like the same way. So like I figure out what they're doing just because they think they're playing the correct way.
What makes Phil Ivey the greatest in the world?
He makes you physically nervous when he stares at you. Like I got a little bit sweaty thinking about it. Think about you standing on the court with Michael Jordan. You're next to him and he's 6'6" and he's Michael Jordan. What's gonna happen to your palms when he checks the ball to you? Same thing in poker. Phil Ivey bets and now it's up to you.
Who are these people that have millions of dollars playing poker?
Business guys, there's household name athletes, comedians, there's actors, and then there's the poker pros. These household name guys, whether they're athletes or actors or billionaires, they're very competitive. Leonardo Dicaprio, the most famous actor of all time, right? He's really good at poker. We wouldn't expect it, but they know human behavior way better than we do.
I played with Piqué in Barcelona a couple of years ago. That was a pretty cool experience. A soccer legend.
Playing Doyle Brunson in NBC Heads Up, you know, Doyle Brunson's kind of the godfather of poker. Be able to play him heads up was pretty special.
My friend calls me, he's like, hey, do you want to play a small game with Michael Phelps? He's at Palms right now. The very first hand we play, I just like shove all in with a draw, just like gambling versus him, and he was bluffing and he folds. And he gets so angry. So I'm like, what did I just do? We continue to play the rest of the session. I'm getting fortunate against him and he's not happy about it. So when the session breaks, he goes around the table, he's like, are you going to the club tonight? And he just goes one by one to everybody around the table, skips over me, and then goes to the next guy. I'm like, oh no. Like, he for sure hates my guts.
Any other crazy things you see people do or bring to a table?
I've had guys throw cards at me and stuff like that. People eat like enormous meals at the table.
So one time I left a poker game open on my computer, and then my cousin, who was 8 years old at the time or something, and he just started clicking buttons and stuff like that, and then he ended up losing like maybe like $10,000 or $15,000.
Did he ever pay you back?
No, of course not, man.
How long do you normally play poker for? Like when you sit at a table?
Probably 8 to 10 hours.
The World Series is insane. It's like 12 hours a day for like 3 days in a row. I have bad ADD and ADHD, so sitting long times.
Yeah, I was wondering how people sit for so long.
Very hard.
I do this when I do like 4-hour bike rides. So basically it's electrolytes, no sugar. I find it awesome. So if you're ever doing like long distance things or long time things like sitting at a poker table, check out LMNT.
It's great.
I want to give a huge shout out and give some love to LMNT for sponsoring and making this video happen. I absolutely love these guys. I use their product every single day and I am addicted. Click the link in the description below to order a 30-day supply of your favorite flavor of LMNT. My favorite is watermelon, but honestly, they're all amazing. And if you order using the link below, LMNT will add a free sample pack, which includes 1 packet of every single flavor. Thanks again, LMNT, for sponsoring these videos. Everyone go check them out.
If someone wanted to make $1 million as a poker player, how would you do that?
Other than like winning a big tournament, I would stream for sure. You can make millions pretty quick if you're a good streamer. Streaming is like a very good avenue of money, And if you can play poker while you're doing it, then suddenly you kind of have two sources of income, right? You look at people like the really big streamers, some of them are getting into poker, and you see the streamers, how much they make. I think really it just comes down to, how marketable you are.
If I had to play poker and make $1 million, I would play something like 5-10 no limit hold'em at the casino. And I would sit there for many, many hours, making about $100-$150 an hour. And I would sit there and I would grind all day, every day. To be fair, if you can make $50 an hour, which is very doable at 2-5 no limit hold'em, but I'll tell you, nobody wants to sit at the casino all day, every day, playing 2-5 no limit to make $1 million. They think they do, but they don't.
How would you make $1 million as a poker player?
Playing events that are filled with recreational players and that are people that are there for a break from their job. Because there's a lot of really phenomenal poker players. They want to gamble too high. They want to get backers and play 100K buy-ins instead of swallowing their pride, playing a $600 tournament and, where you have a huge edge. They would rather go play a 5K where they don't have as big of edge, but they get to play against the best in the world and prove their skills. I'm not here to prove my skills. I'm here to make money.
How would you make $1 million today?
For them, I think the best path forward is just like a lot of study, diligence, and playing online. Once you get very good and you accrue some liquidity to actually further your career, transition live as fast as possible.
What has poker taught you about life?
Teaches you not to panic. So like for example, crypto obviously is a very volatile market, and one of the biggest things you don't want to do is sell when the price is crashing, and poker teaches you to handle loss and handle stress very well. You're not really afraid when you take chances in the market or take chances in business or whatever it is. And poker, gives you the ability to be confident in knowing that if everything were to go bad, you could still come back and just go back and play poker and make money.
So I think it gives me a framework for making decisions, and maybe the base of that is EV, expected value, right? Most people have no decision-making framework, so most people make a lot of really bad decisions. Most of the tough decisions in your life, there's some sort of uncertainty there, right? Or it'd be pretty easy to compare things. Buying a house, moving to a different place. And I think that learning poker is essentially the art of making decisions.
How has poker impacted or taught you about how you guys run your business?
Like, you want to find a game where you're not like the worst player in. In fact, you want to find the game where you're the best player in as much as possible. The reason I got into the restaurant game was because my brother, he really wanted to open a restaurant. And for me, I'm just like, man, I don't know if this is the right move, but since you're doing it, I'm going to help you. That's definitely a lesson that I reflect on a lot.
What advice would you have for someone who wants to become a poker pro?
Poker's a hard way to make an easy living. It's a very easy living, it's an easy life in a sense of when things are going well and going good, but it's hard to get to that point.
Come to the table prepared. I was up till 4 a.m. getting lists of people I'm going to play and trying to do prep work, which back then was not easy because you don't have all the information that you have today. I mean, today you can get on there and search Hendon mobs. You can find out every tournament they played or if they cashed in. The amount of resources I have to find out tells on people or tendencies and things like that is pretty sick.
I would recommend you hire a coach or make friends with a coach. Find a way to add value to their life. For example, maybe you're really good at fitness, right? Maybe you start training a lot of the poker players. In exchange, they let you sit in on their strategy sessions. And that results in all of them getting very good quickly together. So you have to find a peer group of like-minded people who are working hard to succeed.
I would say start small, and then I would start at a game where you're comfortable, where you have enough money that you could afford to win and lose what you're playing with. We live in a world today where no one has any patience, and people want money today. If you really want to go to be a pro, take your time, go through the levels, and earn.
If you love this video about poker in Las Vegas, you're gonna love this video right up here about yachts in Miami, what these people do for a living, and how much they actually make. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Uncle Noah loves you, and I'll see you out there. Pew, pew.